Hey, welcome to the Mature Talk Zone, where we talk about everything regarding relationships and how you can make a relationship a wonderful place, a wonderful world, and the most enjoyable time of your life. Yeah, I'm your host, Lucas Adiola, and I'll be taking you on this journey. I hope you're ready to spice up your relationship level where you're going to enjoy it to the best. My advice is to always practice the tips you hear on this channel. It is all about giving you the best experiences and the advices and tips that makes your relationship a better place for you. Okay, so today we'll be talking about the word communication. What is communication in a relationship? Communication in a relationship. You know, a lot of people kind of like underemphasize the importance of communication. And communication is the first basis for every relationship. I mean, before you got into a relationship, you had to tell your partner, the person you're interested in. You let them know, I like you. Can we go out on a date? Can we see how things work out and stuff like that? So you communicated your interest in verbatim to the person you want to have a relationship with. So what is communication to you? What do you understand about communication? Communication is an essential part. I repeat once again, an essential part and the foundation for every relationship, because you got to say what's on your mind. You got to say the things you desire. You got to ask for the things you want, or you got to ask for permissions. You got to state or make statements and stuff like that. So communication is a big deal. So according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, communication is described as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Okay, so it's an exchange of information. It is so important. So I'll be taking it on, breaking it down to help us understand how it applies to relationship. Okay. A lot of people think it is okay to, say the good things, the things you like, the things that soothe, the things that smooth, and that's where they feel comfortable with. Now, a lot of people don't even understand that, you gotta also communicate the bad, the ugly, and the funny things about you. Yeah, you gotta communicate that. It's so important to communicate that, because a lot of people die in silence. They get eaten up within because they refuse to open up and let their spouses know what you're going through. So it is important for people to understand that they're doing a lot of disservice, not communicating the bad things, the funny things, the ugly things, the dark things. You got to communicate. It's important. So in relation to communication, which is said is an exchange of information. All right, so you like someone and all things are going smoothly, all things are going lovey-dovey, all googly giggly, and sweet words and all that. And all of a sudden, the person does something you don't like, something despicable, not nice, something you're not comfortable with. And a lot of times the people who does those things don't even understand they've done such things. And it is important for the partner or whoever is offended to communicate it to the other partner who did it. For example, if let's say you're the guy and you love to have a warm cup of tea being served to you, and your spouse gets to serve you a cold cup of tea. Now your spouse, the lady doesn't know you don't like a cold cup of tea, and because you didn't say it, or because you want to make her feel happy, make her feel lovable, and not want to offend her, you don't say anything, you keep it inside. Now what that does is it begins to build pressure within you. So your 100% happiness or your 100% openness is now being pressured by being locked up because you don't want to open it up. Now what happens is that other things the spouse does starts piling up on top of that aspect that you refuse to open up because it irks you don't like it. Now the most important thing is communicating right. Like for example, let a person know that, oh, I don't like a cold cup of coffee. It doesn't. I don't enjoy it. You have to learn to communicate the things you don't feel comfortable with, because in so doing you're creating bond, you're creating awareness, you're creating openness, so your partner gets to know your likes and dislikes. So it is important to always communicate. Yeah, it is important to always communicate. Let's take it to a more mature level. So sometimes people think, okay, when it comes to making love, they can't communicate with their partner their preferences for the kind of partner or the kind of love making aspect that they like. I was talking to a couple the other day, and a couple was explaining to me, the lady was telling me that she likes communication. She likes before she gets turned on, she likes a man to tell her stuff like you're looking beautiful today. Oh, I love the way you look in that dress. Oh, I love the meals you make. Oh, you smell so good. You smell so nice, and stuff like that. Now, one thing I like about the lady was that she's always open up to let her man know this is her preference and this is what she likes. And I kind of like really encourage that, because it is important that we communicate. Now, the mistake we do is, a lot of us believe that because he's my spouse or she's my spouse, she gotta just understand, what I am, who I am, because I'm her spouse or I'm his spouse. It doesn't work like that, because your man or your woman ain't living inside of your heart, and he or she ain't in your mind, so she don't know or he don't know what's going on in your mind. So the best way to let the people know, your partner know what's going on in your mind, is to open up and communicate, exchange the information. It's going to do a lot of good for the relationship. It's going to make it more robust, going to make it more nice. You're going to have a lovely time, enjoying the aspect of your relationship when you get to communicate and share, with your other partner. Now, because you're gonna have to live with this person every single day of your life, if if you get married and stay together, and you want to be happy, so the first key to being happy in your relationship is that you gotta always communicate, exchange information. Don't think for once that you don't have to tell her, or you don't have to tell him. You gotta keep it to yourself. You gotta communicate. Now, another aspect of communication is weighing the threshold of your partner. For example, sometimes when you tell your partner the things you're going through or the challenges you're passing through, your partner begins to feel bad with you. They don't have the capacity, to carry the challenge or the trials you're going through. All right, now this is where skill comes in, because you still have to communicate. Now, what you need to do is weigh the maturity, the threshold or the stronghold of your partner, to let the partner know that to understand what the partner is able to process and react to positively. Because you don't want your partner getting down because of you or feeling heavy because of you. You don't want that. No, you don't want that. So what you got to do is, you figure it out. There's something I've created in my world, which is called the responsibility. People call it responsibility, but I call it the response ability. So let's say I want you to go out. I want you to leave our current space of maybe I want to tell my wife, okay, let's change location, let's move to the United States, and the first thing I tell my wife is, I'm just gonna ask her, what do you think about relocation? So I'm preparing her heart and to see what is her responsibility. So what do you think about relocation? I get feedbacks from her, so I ask it in the form of a question. And when she asks it for, when she responds to me, I begin to weigh, okay, can I tell her on the go, or should I just, tell her a bit, or should I tell her about 50% or 10%, or just hold it back and not tell her now and look for another time or best way to communicate it again. So, but the bottom line is you got to communicate. Don't let what you want to say to your spouse start eating you up within, because it builds pressure. And when pressure builds, it's going to explode. So most times, most people come into the experience of coming to the experience of a bit explosive, abusive, and angry because they've allowed pressure to build because of non-communication. There's always a form of communication. For example, if you're not saying anything, you're already communicating. That is the truth. If you're not saying anything, you're already communicating, but you're communicating on an assumption level, suspicion level, because the person has to start thinking for you, imagining for you, and trust me, it's always not on the good side. Okay, suspicions, assumptions is always not on the good side. So to simplify it, you gotta exchange the information of what's eating in your heart or what they think you should say to your spouse, just to avoid pressure, because when pressure builds up, I repeat, it's gonna explode. So you don't have to get yourself into that aspect where you have to explode. So you take it in chunks and bits, you keep communicating. So if it's a food you like, you tell your spouse. If you like to go on a date, you tell your spouse. If you don't like something, you tell your spouse. Also put it into play what I said about the responsibility. So you want to tell him or her something and you feel it's going to be heavy, so you test it around another area. Now the goal is to communicate right, but to communicate it right and effectively, okay, in care of your spouse. So I'm going to be rounding it up right here right now, and I want you to start practicing communication. Start it from today. Talk to your spouse about everything and anything, okay? But don't forget the check of responsibility. So you want to say, for example, let's relocate, and you don't know how he or she is going to respond. So what you do is, what you ask, you throw it in a question like, what do you think about, what do you think about maybe Japan? Or what do you think about France? You start it at a peripheral, bouncing off other things, then you see his or her feedback, then you know how to communicate it. So rounding it up, communication is essence. I repeat, is a process. I repeat the meaning of communication. It's a process. You can see that it's a process. All right. So it's going to take processes. So it's a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. It's an exchange of information. Okay. So thank you for listening in on the Mature Talk Zone, the relationship channel on YouTube, and I will be seeing you some other time. Don't forget to keep checking up on our channels. So hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can always get when we upload new content, and it's gonna help your relationship grow better, and you have a more robust and beautiful relationship. Thank you once again. Have a nice time and keep loving up. Bye.